Hi Muggles, Kate the Button Lady here, and I am here to show you a little bit of the process and how I make some of my button jewelry. The wonderful thing is I am gifted so many buttons from people that I meet at events or friends who have a jar of family heirloom buttons laying around their house. And instead of, they don't sew, so instead I make these wonderful family heirlooms. I'm given these great buttons from all corners of the world, and I get to make jewelry. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how I make my my collection necklaces. So let's get to it. So this is the approximate layout of the buttons. The bottom part I've used is a felt. You can use jersey fabric or any kind of fabric, but I found that felt actually gives me the best hold for the different types of buttons, since I've got metal, shell, and other composite buttons here. The best way to kind of arrange it is to stack them just slightly so they stay together and they don't bend. You can make it so there's just a fun design. I've got these buttons. Some of these are, most of these are from the 1950s. They're given to me by a friend to make a collection of family jewelry for her family. They've got some rhinestones and some pearls and just some really lovely buttons. So what I'm going to do is I've got my layout, so I'm going to set my buttons off to the side and start with my anchor point buttons. Trying to remember the layout is always fun. I use a little bit of low temperature hot glue to get started. Sometimes, which it's not. Okay, so we're going to try that again with a glue gun that actually works. So I'm going to add a little bit of the glue to the back, and this is just to anchor it. I use a low temp glue gun since I am prone to burning myself with this glue gun. And just a light pressure all the way around to make sure it sticks. Same with the next one over. And I don't put it on the holes, that way it doesn't kind of come through. Gives it a little bit of a cleaner look, and if it does, I just kind of scratch it out a little bit. And don't worry about the glue strings too much, since that'll be happening in the cleanup phase of things. So now I'm going to start adding in the layers to give it a little bit of stability. This one is actually a metal backed button, and it is lucite. This was made, lucite was developed by the DuPont company in the 1940s. They were trying to make a bulletproof material, and they didn't quite succeed in that, but what they made was a very durable and malleable plastic. And it's basically a resin, and it wasn't very useful for windows and glass and things, but they could make it, they could mold it while it was still warm and make really intricate designs and patterns. And up in the 1950s they started adding the metallic flakes and things to it to make it sparkle. So that is how lucite buttons with the glitter came to be. So it might be a little trickier since it's got a lot of different things. So what I do there is I just kind of push the fabric from the back into the cracks of the button itself. Kind of really get the glue in there to stick and stay. Okay. And we'll do the same with this button as well. And this one's kind of got a really cool texture. It's like octopus tentacles kind of deal. I really, really love this button. I wish I had one for myself. Again, the same thing with this, pushing it in through the back. Make sure it's really anchored in there. And we'll get a little bit of glue through the holes in these buttons, but it should be okay. Alright, so there's there's our base, and now we can add our other anchor button. This is another form of lucite, and it's got a little decorative pearl. These are called Shank Buttons with the little metal hook on the back. Focus, focus, focus. So we'll put him right there as kind of an anchor point. Push it up and around that button too, so it really stays. Okay, so far so good. The hardest part is remembering what layout you had for this after you've taken the buttons off. And this is another little rhinestone button, probably 1950s. And if you find that your glue, your hot glue, is not working with these type of buttons on this fabric, there's a lot of different glues. I have about 9 different adhesives I use to get the job done. A lot of times sticking other shell buttons together does not really work. You need a more silicone-based adhesive. And there are quite a few options in the silicone family. A lot of people, you know, if you want to spend the exorbitant prices on adhesives at the craft store, your local hardware store will have a cheaper alternative and actually more industrial. So a lot of people don't think of crafting materials in the hardware store, but if you're one of those people like me who needs a variety of adhesives and things, then a craft store just does not cut the mustard. So there we have our 2 little decorative ones, and then we have one more button to add to this top part, and then we are done. Like I said, don't worry about the glue strings and things there. We'll be dealing with those shortly. Now I find if it does come apart like this, what I do is I add just a little bit of glue into the seam to make it stay a little harder. This type of glue, obviously this metal does not want to stick to the shell, so what I'm going to use is a 24-hour adhesive to actually glue it down, so that will keep it more stable. And then after we are done, we will trim the own side, seal it, and then add our the rest of the jewelry findings and things, and we will have a complete necklace. So. Okay, since this one is drying, we're going to go ahead and work on another one that I've already prepared. So this one will be a little bit different, but about the same kind of buttons. It's for the same client as well, so it'll be a really great necklace. Alright, let's get started. This is another button necklace I made earlier, and what I'm going to do is continue to cut out the felt around the buttons. It doesn't have to be perfect, just cutting away as much of the fabric as you can. Have a nice blank kind of thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some an X-Acto knife and just kind of trim away the excess here, and then what I will do is I will seal the back. I use a lighter to kind of melt away the fabric and then glue the ends around the buttons so it is nice and sealed. And that is roughly how you make the button necklace. As you can see, I've now sealed the ends. There's still a little bit of glue showing, and we're going to clean that up. But I've also sealed the back. Our felt is now securely fastened onto the back, and I've also added our jump rings so we can use it as an actual necklace. It's really important to make sure that you keep these, get these jump rings level to where you want them to hang. This will be kind of it's a different shape of a necklace, so you want to make sure it's level so it'll sit the way you want it to. Also, you want to make sure you measure your chain to hang appropriately too. We're going to add buttons to the chain on this one, and it'll be really lovely. The best thing to do is once you get your rings sewn on, I use a little bit of glue to seal the thread to make sure it's really securely on there so we won't tear away from the back or lose the thing. Also make sure if you're using non-closed jump rings that the open end is pointed away from where the rest of the necklace is going to hang, because if you hang it up here it's going to have more of a chance to break away from the chain and fall off, which would be bad. So that is almost a completed necklace. And so here is our completed necklace. I've added about a 18 to 20 inch chain. I used the same buttons I had for this little button here, so I had 2 more. So I added the other 2 to make it a nice little hanging length. And if you've done it right, it should hang just below the collarbone. Well, if I've done it right, this will hang just below the collarbone, and it should be quite lovely. So let's see what it looks like on. So here is our completed necklace. It is on and it looks great, and it hangs just the right way and the way I like it to be. So if you found this tutorial helpful, please follow me for more wonderful tutorials. We're going to start doing some more holiday fun. I'm also Pushable Buttons on Facebook and Instagram if you want to follow me there. And give me a like and subscribe here for more if you want. It's cool. I'm trying to be laid back and chill. I'm really trying. It's not working out so good for me. Anyway, thank you guys. Be good humans. Bye.